Hey guys, welcome to Franklin Woodworks. I'm gearing up for a new project and I decided I needed a new blade for my miter saw. I wanted to get a blade with a negative hook angle because I heard it gives you better cuts on the miter saw. But then I decided to test it and I'll share what I learned with you. I have a Cobalt 10-inch sliding miter saw I bought at Lowe's. So far it's served me well and I replaced the stock kerf plate with one I made from maple. But it's not zero clearance, so a small portion of the wood being cut will still be unsupported. All of the blades I'll test are rated for hardwoods, softwoods, and plywood. We'll start with the Cobalt 60-tooth blade, designed for miter saws, which you can buy for $24.98. And this is also the blade that came with the saw. Next is the Diablo 90-tooth flawless finish blade, designed for use in just about any saw, and it's listed at $59.97. And we'll end with the Ashland 60-tooth blade, designed for miter saws and radial arm saws, and it sells for $43.66. There are more expensive blades out there, but I'm cheap, so this is what I'm going with. The Ashland is new, and the Cobalt and Diablo have been freshly sharpened. But there are more differences in the blades than just number of teeth. Each blade has a different hook angle, which is the angle the tooth leans either forward or backwards. Most blades have a forward hook, most obvious in rip blades. Here's a Forest Woodworker 2, and you can see the aggressive hook angle in the tooth of the blade. The more aggressive the hook angle, the more the material will tend to self-feed into the blade. This is one of the reasons that rip blades are not a good idea for sliding miter saws and radial arm saws. If I use a straight edge to bisect the blade, I can show you the hook angle of each blade I'm testing. You can see that the Diablo has a positive hook angle listed by the company at 10 degrees. The Cobalt appears to have a zero hook angle, but I couldn't find any specs on the company's website. And the Ashland has a 5-degree negative hook angle, meaning that the tooth actually leans backwards from what we're used to seeing. The wood I'm going to cut is not Baltic birch, but it is a higher quality birch plywood. The underside has been finished with stain and water-based poly from a previous project. I'm going to make 3 cuts with each blade, one where I pull the blade towards me as I make the cut, one where I push the saw away from me, and one where I score the top of the plywood pulling toward me, then finish with a push cut. This last method I thought would be a good idea because so many woodworkers do this out of habit, me included, and I wanted to see if it actually was beneficial to do this. I've marked each piece with the direction of cut so I don't get confused with the results. But I was really surprised with the results. All of the blades did fairly well with the pull cut. The Cobalt had some chipping at the beginning of the cut during the plunge, but smoothed out as the saw moved towards me. But the underside had tear out. The Diablo did much better with only the slightest chipping during the plunge, and the underside was perfect. The Ashland had a perfect cut on the top, but the back had significant tear out. The push cut was a different story. The Cobalt seemed to chew its way through the plywood, making a ragged cut, but the underside was perfect. The Diablo fared better, but still had significant chipping on the top, but the underside was razor sharp. The Ashland had the worst cut on top, but the bottom was absolutely perfect. The scoring cut was very enlightening. For the top, both the Cobalt and the Diablo produced cuts with chipping on the edges. The Ashland, with a negative rake, fared the best and produced a really nice edge. On the bottom, the Diablo had the only perfect cut. However, I learned 2 things that are important about the scoring cut. First, your miter saw has to be perfect. What I mean by that is that many miter saws have a little bit of flex. and the further out you go, the more pronounced the deviation. If the pull and the push are not perfectly coplanar, you'll end up with an edge like this, and that's no good. Second, the chipping on the top with the Cobalt and the Diablo both happen during the pushing portion of the cut. The scoring was helpful with tear out on the underside of the plywood, but you tend to sacrifice the top, so you may need to pick which side you want to look the best. So which blade won? I think all three blades are fine, but I'll give the edge to the Ashland, no pun intended. But that comes with a caveat. I will have to be mindful of which side of the plywood is the show side and cut accordingly. I'll also quit doing the scoring cut because I don't see the advantage of that over a pull cut anymore. However, I will probably make another kerf plate, making sure it is a zero clearance, and maybe that will help with the tear out on the underside of the plywood. Hope you found this video useful. If you think so, give this video a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and there you go.